Though often in the conversation for sinkhole capital of America, Florida might just have a rival. Because while Florida sees more sinkholes overall, Texas has something far more terrifying. In Winkler County, two massive sinkholes, the infamous Wink Sinks, have swallowed entire sections of land, stretching over 380 feet across. That's bigger than Florida's largest sinkhole, and one of them, it dropped 110 feet overnight. Even more unsettling, scientists now believe these two giant voids are slowly drifting toward each other. If they ever merge, the resulting collapse could be catastrophic, not just for Winkler County, but for anyone living nearby. But these aren't just rare desert oddities. In 2016, a sinkhole opened without warning in San Antonio, swallowing two cars and claiming the life of a sheriff's deputy. It was only 12 feet wide, but it was enough. Now imagine the damage 380 feet would do. Texas may not get as many sinkholes as Florida, but when it does, they're deadlier, deeper, and far more unpredictable. And that's just the beginning. There's not just one danger lurking beneath the surface, there's dozens. And it all happens in a state where heat, oil, water, and geology collide in ways most people never think about. So what's really going on here? Is it the weight of forgotten fault lines? The slow grind of time carving away the land? A hidden force lying just beneath the surface? Or is it just the relentless heat and storms, combined with the wild, untamed nature that defines Texas's unforgiving beauty? Today, we'll be looking at what makes Texas such a unique place to live and visit, and how, despite its challenges and unpredictable nature, it still thrives in many aspects. Texas, a name believed to come from the Caddo word teas, meaning friends or allies, suggests a place built on hospitality and connection. But behind that friendly name is a state defined by extremes, contradictions, and hidden truths few people ever talk about. The Texas coastline, stretching approximately 367 miles along the Gulf of America, is steadily shrinking. 64% of the coast is eroding at an average rate of 6 feet per year, and some locations are losing 30 feet a year. While Texas has no state income tax, it ranks 6th in property tax rates nationwide, a paradox that surprises both newcomers and residents. And then there are the ghost towns, more than 500 scattered across the state, more than any other place in America. These abandoned communities tell stories of boom and bust, of dreams built on oil, ranching, and frontier spirit, now faded into ghostly silence. So, as we peel back the layers of Texas's past, prepare to discover a land where history, geography, and modern challenges intertwine. Extreme weather is without a doubt one of Texas's most relentless challenges, one that often exposes the limits of its infrastructure. The state operates its own largely independent power grid, ERCOT, which manages the flow of electric power to more than 27 million Texas customers, representing about 90% of the state's electric load. This self-reliance proved disastrous in February 2021, when an Arctic blast froze gas wells and power plants, causing widespread failures. With equipment unable to operate in the freezing cold, millions lost heat, water, and electricity during a brutal winter storm. But winter isn't the only threat. Between the spring and fall of 2023, ERCOT was strained again, requesting residents to conserve energy 11 times to prevent a grid collapse. Today, everyday life in Texas increasingly depends on a fragile, unpredictable power system. The dangers extend beyond the grid. Texas's highways, designed for long-distance travel, are vulnerable to the state's extreme weather. Raging sun causes pavement and bridges to buckle, while sudden storms can flood roads overnight. In a state famed for its wide-open spaces and long roads, these hidden hazards of weather, flooded highways, buckling pavement, and power outages, remind us that Texas's greatest threats are often beyond human control. And the threats don't end there. Texas's geology can turn both exotic and deadly. Once again, sinkholes are a clear consequence of decades of oil drilling. Back in 2008, tiny De Zeta experienced a 600-foot wide, 75-foot deep crater swallowing oil tanks and cars, sitting as a water-filled mystery for years. Meanwhile, dust storms, sometimes called yellow blizzards, are a common feature across West Texas and the Panhandle. During drought conditions, strong winds carry fine red soil miles across the plains, coating everything in a hazy layer. These dust storms often come out of nowhere, blotting out the sun and reducing visibility to near zero. The phenomenon is brought on by the atmospheric dynamics of springtime, when the jet stream over the U.S. becomes especially strong. This creates significant temperature differences between the hot, dry southwest and cooler northern regions, intensifying pressure systems. In areas with flat, open terrain, like the Great Plains, these large-scale pressure differences can generate extremely strong winds. Without much natural friction from forests or hills to slow them down, wind speeds spike, lifting and transporting huge amounts of dust. And then there are the wildfires and tornadoes. In Texas, wildfire season now feels like year-round chaos. In February 2024, strong winds and drought fueled the Panhandle fires, burning over 1.25 million acres in just 1 week, becoming the largest wildfire in Texas's state history. In Texas, summers regularly see hundreds of thousands of acres go up in flames, with the Panhandle now experiencing 32 more extreme fire days annually than in the 1970s. Living in Texas also means living under Tornado Alley. The state averages roughly 137 tornadoes a year, more than any other U.S. state. They are most common during the spring and summer months nationwide, but because of the state's proximity to the Gulf of America as a moisture source, tornadoes can occur in southeast Texas any time of year. Powerful twisters can spin up in plains or coastal areas, causing chaos from rural farmland to suburban neighborhoods. Texans jokingly say, if it rotates, it'll hit Texas. And while that's an exaggeration, the data tells a different story. Of course, Tornado Alley isn't confined to just Texas. It's a large strip of North America stretching from central Texas northward to the Canadian prairies, and from eastern Colorado eastward to western Ohio. While Florida's tornadoes do get significant media attention, often fueled by wide coverage and the state's high population density, the dangers in Texas tend to be overshadowed. But beyond its troubles with extreme weather, Texas grapples with its own set of socioeconomic challenges too, from struggling communities to areas hit hardest by environmental hazards, to others riddled with crime. Certain regions face hurdles that make everyday life more difficult. So, which parts of Texas are dealing with the most hardship? And what underlying factors contribute to these struggles, whether it's economic disparity, environmental risks, or limited access to resources? Let's take a look. Located in northwest Texas, Lubbock is often considered one of the more affordable places to live in the state, attracting both families and students. However, despite its relatively low cost of living, Lubbock made headlines in 2021 when it was listed as the third most dangerous city in the United States. As of 2025, with a crime rate of 41 per 1,000 residents, it ranks among the highest in America across all communities, big and small. And the odds of becoming a victim of either violent or property crime in Lubbock stand at roughly 1 in 25. Also, residents here face highly increased risks of wildfires. 2024 saw a notable rise, with fire departments responding to a total of 54 fires. Laredo, located on the southern border of Texas, has been identified in several studies as facing significant challenges that make it less than ideal for many residents. In 2017, it was described as one of the worst cities in the U.S. to lead an active lifestyle, noting issues like limited recreational options and safety concerns. By 2022, Laredo was ranked among the worst cities in the country for singles, placing in the bottom 12% for social opportunities and quality of life. On top of that, safety ratings from sites like Neighborhood Scout and Crime Grade reveal a harsh reality. Relative to Texas, Laredo has a crime rate that is higher than 73% of the state's cities and towns of all sizes. The Bridge District experiences concentrated cargo theft, with a 12% year-over-year increase in warehouse burglaries reported by Laredo PD. Arlington is often celebrated for its sports culture, entertainment venues, and being home to the Texas Rangers and Dallas Cowboys stadiums. But beneath this reputation lies a different reality. The bustling city made headlines in 2022 with its violent crime rate standing at 5.78 per 1,000 residents, making it the 7th highest among Texas cities with populations over 200,000. It's also easy to feel overwhelmed in Arlington, with nearly 400,000 people rushing through its streets between the heat and humidity of Texas summers. The influx of tourists, packed events, and muggy weather contribute to a sense of suffocation, both literal and figurative. As of 2025, one's chance of becoming a victim of either violent or property crime here is 1 in 32. And within Texas, more than 93% of the communities have a lower crime rate than Arlington. In 2025, Beaumont was ranked among the 10 most dangerous cities in Texas by Reolink, reflecting its ongoing crime issues. The city faces 9.9 violent crimes and 49.7 property crimes per 1,000 residents. A lot of the violence is tied to the industrial zones, with the refinery district seeing around 15.3 burglaries per 1,000 people. Domestic violence cases also drive an 8% annual rise in crime. On top of that, meth-related crimes are about 35% higher than the state average, particularly in the northern neighborhoods. San Antonio, known for its history and culture, also ranks among the most dangerous cities in Texas in 2025. The city has a violent crime rate of 10.6 and a property crime rate of 54.1 per 1,000 residents, reflecting serious urban challenges. The West Side's drug corridor sees about 3.8 drug-related violent crimes per 1,000 people, showing ongoing issues with drug violence. Meanwhile, the popular Riverwalk, a major tourist spot, has theft rates 25% higher than the city average, especially during fiesta season. Hotel burglaries targeting tourist belongings have also surged by 22% annually, raising concerns about safety. On top of this, the city struggles with high poverty, food insecurity, and limited green spaces. Dallas, one of Texas's largest and fastest growing cities, continues to struggle with high crime rates. The city has 11.8 violent crimes and 58.9 property crimes per 1,000 residents, with southern districts seeing robbery rates 3 times the state average. In 2024, aggravated assaults in the downtown business district rose by 15%, raising concerns about public safety. Auto thefts, averaging 19.2 per 1,000 residents, are a major issue near tourist spots like Dealey Plaza. Police say 38% of violent crimes are linked to gang activity, especially along the I-35 corridor, highlighting the ongoing challenge of organized crime. Beyond safety, the city faces socioeconomic struggles. Longtime residents are increasingly unable to afford rising housing costs, with wages falling behind the market, fueling social tensions as the city grows. Houston faces a range of challenges, including some of Texas's highest crime rates and significant environmental and infrastructure issues. The city records 12.4 violent crimes and 62.3 property crimes per 1,000 residents, with the Northeast sector accounting for 42% of violent offenses, mostly gang-related assaults that rose by 7% last year. Vehicle thefts, averaging 24.8 per 1,000 residents, are a persistent problem in downtown areas, while burglaries are concentrated in southern suburbs. The Houston Police Department also reported a 15% increase in meth-related crimes in 2023, contributing to the rise in violence and property crimes. Beyond safety, Houston faces high levels of debt among residents, land sinking due to water and oil extraction, and ongoing problems with traffic congestion and urban infrastructure, all adding to the city's growing difficulties. Corpus Christi is also facing a variety of challenges, from a shortage of affordable housing to water restrictions, a growing homeless population, and rising crime rates. The city reports 8.7 violent crimes and 44.5 property crimes per 1,000 residents, with seasonal fluctuations. Coastal tourist areas see a rise in thefts during the summer, with rates hitting 16.9 per 1,000, while gang-related violence is concentrated in central districts. According to the police department's 2023 report, crime spikes by about 30% between Memorial Day and Labor Day each year. Fort Worth is battling poverty, homelessness, and neighborhoods dealing with low graduation rates, high crime, and unemployment. The city reports 8.1 violent crimes and 41.3 property crimes per 1,000 residents, with the historic Stockyards Entertainment District accounting for about 22% of property offenses. Police hotspot mapping shows that larceny, with a rate of 12.4 per 1,000 residents, exceeds violent crime levels in cultural districts, raising concerns over theft and property crime. Additionally, neighborhoods on the north side have seen a 9% annual increase in residential burglaries. While Amarillo has a cost of living significantly lower than the national average, the city continues to face notable challenges, especially related to crime. The city reports 7.2 violent crimes and 36.8 property crimes per 1,000 residents, with methamphetamine-related offenses dominating violent crime statistics, according to the Potter County Sheriff. Additionally, auto thefts have increased by 12% annually, putting further pressure on law enforcement resources. Northern industrial areas account for nearly 45% of the city's burglary cases. Fentanyl is also on the rise here, with overdose investigations more than doubling in 2023, as reported by the Amarillo Tribune. Beyond crime, poverty, and the ongoing struggle to make ends meet, Texas faces a range of weather challenges that affect the entire state. But there's one we haven't touched on yet. Texas faces an unexpected menace: coastal erosion and intense storms. The Gulf's hurricanes, like Harvey in 2017 and Ike in 2008, reveal how the flat coast offers little protection. On average, beaches erode about 4.1 feet annually, shrinking barrier islands, vanishing dunes, and threatening towns like Corpus Christi and Galveston, as storm surges swallow beaches and carry sand into the Gulf or along the coast. As the coast experiences loss of land, this has negative consequences for property values, tourism, and local economies. Farming and fishing industries also risk revenue loss. And then there's a ton of invasive species which also cause significant damage year-round. Feral hogs, escaped domestic pigs, are now in 253 of Texas's 254 counties, trampling fields, uprooting crops, spreading disease, and even causing car accidents. A Texas invasives report warns they root up the earth, causing erosion and damage to native vegetation and private property. Other pests include red imported fire ants. While many reactions are localized and manageable, a small percentage can lead to anaphylaxis, a severe allergic reaction that requires immediate medical attention. And this has sadly claimed human lives. Also, Africanized killer bees have been known to attack pets and people, and nutria rodents chew riverbanks while smaller critters alter lakes and parks. So, do you think you've heard the whole truth about Texas yet? Well, there's more. Texas's quirks go way beyond nature. There are shocks in law and policy that you probably knew nothing about. For instance, while Texas advertises no state income tax, it compensates with some of the highest property taxes in the nation, ranked 6th overall, often costing homeowners thousands more annually than neighboring states. In 2023, with a tax rate of 1.68%, the Lone Star State topped the property tax list, surpassing states like New Jersey at 2.23% and Illinois at 2.08%. As of 2025, Texas is experiencing a significant shift in property tax policies, primarily driven by the state's efforts to provide tax relief to homeowners and businesses. According to the Texas Tribune, Texas is slated to spend $51 billion on property tax cuts over the next 2 years. If voters agree, homeowners will see increased breaks on the taxes they pay toward school districts, with those above the age of 65 or living with disabilities seeing even bigger cuts. However, many are worried that this isn't sustainable. Texas also fiercely protects homeowners. Texas law explicitly bans forcing the sale of a primary residence to settle ordinary debts, with only certain liens like mortgages or taxes able to override this shield, a rare legal safeguard few outsiders know about. Elsewhere, when it comes to border security, Texas has taken unprecedented steps. Governor Greg Abbott's Operation Lone Star, launched in 2021, deploys the National Guard and DPS to patrol the border, and the state is building its own border wall segments. Reaching around 33 miles by mid-2024, there are plans for up to 805 miles at an estimated cost of $20 to $24 billion, exceeding the entire state college budget. Texas even buses migrants to sanctuary cities far from the border. Bold, costly policies rarely seen in other states. So yes, Texas does have its problems, but many say that it is still on the up, with plenty of measures in place to keep the state thriving the best it can. But there are still challenges that many feel are not being addressed properly. Notably, scholars and climate scientists warn that climate change could reverse Texas's rapid growth, as increasingly scorching summers threaten to trigger a reverse migration of millions seeking cooler climates. This has been a talking point for many years now, as regions that already receive little rainfall are likely to become drier. and portions of Texas's 367-mile Gulf Coast are seeing rising sea levels, leaving them more susceptible to storms, which could also become stronger due to warming oceans. In 2024, a map developed by climate scientists and researchers at Climate Central using advanced predictive modeling showed that several Texas cities could face significant flooding or even be partially underwater by 2050. The findings were that coastal cities are most at risk. As reported by ESTN, the most recent climate projections suggest Texas will experience 10 to 12 inches of sea level rise by 2050, which could drastically change things for the Texan coastline. While Texas is experiencing a population increase, there are still plenty of people leaving. In 2023, around 612,000 people moved to Texas from other states. Another 479,000 people moved out of Texas for a different state, producing a net inflow from the rest of the nation of about 133,000 people. As we mentioned, if you drive through the state, you'll find numerous ghost towns, abandoned towns and settlements totaling over 500 remnants of past economic booms and busts, from oil to mining. While these towns represent a side of Texas that is in ruins, many residents are still proud of their state, and they're proud of how big it is. We know you've heard the phrase, everything is bigger in Texas. While this isn't a flat-out fact, it is indeed home to some big things worth bragging about. Texas has the most counties of any U.S. state, 254, each with its own courts and officials, reflecting its huge size. The 1845 Statehood Treaty grants Texas the power to split into up to 5 separate states, a legal relic that could reshape its political environment. It has its roots in the state's enormous geographical area. Texas has a total area of 268,820 square miles, 696,241 square kilometers, ranking just behind Alaska in terms of size. Additionally, for a cool fact you may not have known, West Texas roads often unearth Ice Age fossils, as ancient megafauna like mammoths and ground sloths lie buried beneath the playa lakes. Finally, Texas's road network is the nation's largest, with roughly 655,000 miles of highways, more than any other state, making it possible to drive across the entire region and still have countless backroads to explore. So while Texas has its problems, it certainly has its upsides too. Historically, Texas was a rugged frontier that tested those who dared to settle here. From the days of lone wagon trains and cattle drives to modern urban sprawls, the state has always demanded resilience. Today, Texas is a land of striking contrasts. Large, open plains and bustling cities, bold independence and complex laws, sprawling highways and fragile ecosystems. Its size and diversity shape everyday life, challenging residents to navigate a patchwork of local customs, unique policies, and environmental realities. Living in Texas means embracing the size of the land, the power of its storms, and the strength of its communities. It's about recognizing that beneath the boldness is a state that's always evolving, sometimes unpredictable, but never lacking in resilience. And here's the truth. Those who embrace Texas's quirks often develop an unshakable love for it. In Texas, the state's size isn't just about land or laws. It's about spirit. Its history is full of both challenges and achievements, shaping the place it is today. With a clearer view of its complexities, you'll see Texas as more than just a huge piece of land. It's a story that's always unfolding. What about why Uganda is finally becoming a rich country?